Aquarius, greetings and salutations, my friends. Today we are here to do your 5-card movie star spread, right? So here we go. Wow. Okay, so for those of you who've been to my channel before, I am not an expert when it comes to astrology by any means, but I do have a rudimentary understanding of it. I do not mention the astrological significance of a card unless it is the card of the astrological sign that I am reading for. So right here in the, we have the protagonist, antagonist, overall theme, journey, and possible outcome. Right here in the overall theme, I have the star card. This is the card of Aquarius. So beyond how I'm going to read the rest of this spread, please know, Aquarius, that if you feel right now like you are headed in the right path, doing the right thing, you are within your own energy, you are comfortable and you are grounded, then yes, your intuition is on point. There is a path that you are on right now, and it is intended for you. If you happen to feel unsure of certain things and you have some anxieties, stop, look within yourself, and ask, does this align with my values? Make the decisions based on your individual values, not what other people expect of you. Okay? Because most of you will be in your power right now. So moving forward. You were expecting things to grow, to move in a particular way, right? And you didn't get what you wanted. And that was fine. You learned and you adapted anyway. You had to take a step backward. You had a certain plan and things were going to happen. What you had to do was you had to take a step backward. You had to adjust where you were, and you had to move on to plan B. And it was good. So there was something that you were ignoring. There was something that was lingering. There was something that was itching at you that just didn't feel right. And finally, you decided, I am not headed in the right direction. I need to make a major and a drastic change. And that is exactly the lesson that you needed to learn, is that although you had particular goals, and those goals were sound, they were logical, they made sense, right? But they didn't quite feel right. So you had to make a change. This was you choosing a brand new path, taking action to stop making a particular mistake over and over. Stop ignoring a particular red flag. Stop headed down a path that just didn't feel quite right. It was the lack of forward movement and the lack of communication that felt good within the moment. And here's where I say you went to plan B. You see this? This is somebody who has the world laid out before them, all kinds of possibilities, but they're spending all of their time looking at this little globe. There's something inside their world that needed to change before they can choose to grab the staff and move forward and bring the change that they made within themselves out into the world. Right? And that's exactly where you are right now. You regrouped, you replanned, you changed something within you. You made a decision to go on a new path. And now here you are planning on how it is to move forward. And it's good. It's really good. So you're being very careful because you have all these responsibilities, right? So it's not like you could just drop everything and go in a new direction. There are certain things that you picked up either out of necessity or passion, right? And each one of these things that are very, very important to you has a certain amount of maintenance that has to happen. So although you're turning around and going in a new direction, there are certain things that you are required to bring with you because you are a responsible person. You don't want to just drop everything and run away. But you're genuinely concerned, right? You don't want to feel like you have been deceived in this thought process, or more importantly, that you have deceived yourself. Because ultimately, what you did, even though you chose a different direction that is better for your alignment, there is a lot of difficulties and challenges. I call this card the burden of responsibility. You want to make sure that you didn't trick yourself into thinking that you did the right thing when that thing was, whatever. But the beautiful part about it is, like the path is really hard. So you want to make sure it's the right one, because last time you tricked yourself into thinking this was the right way to go until one day you couldn't deny the fact that it wasn't the right way to go, right? So you're putting your own transition on hold in order to maintain those responsibilities. And there's a little bit of anxiety here. There's a little bit of anxiety in that you might be deceiving yourself in thinking you can handle all of this on your own. But I guarantee if you push forward, you'll be doing much better. Okay? So what I get here is you're waiting on an apology. You're waiting on somebody to come in and admit their wrongdoings and their faults and their this and their that. You'll be waiting on that forever. You'll be waiting on that forever. You have to find your own closure to satisfy this anxiety. Oh, I pulled up the wrong two cards. To satisfy this anxiety, right? You have to be able to, I believe I told this to, was it Sagittarius last week when I did the readings? You're smart enough, you're intelligent enough and emotionally aware enough to know that you are not going to, you're not going to forgive this person. And that's fine. Like people say, oh, you have to forgive them, you have to forgive them, you have to forgive them. I have a completely different way of thinking about these things. You see, most people think that the only way to find closure in a process is forgiveness, you know? But the problem is to the other person, when you forgive them, you tell them what you did was okay. Like, I'm now okay with what you did. And the truth of the matter is you don't have to be. So rather than focus on forgiveness, I like to focus on what I call self-absolution, okay? When you absolve yourself of a situation, you get rid of the guilt, you get rid of the obligations, you get rid of the need for evening the score or having some sort of revenge or seeing that person suffer in some way, shape, or form, you know? Basically, when you absolve yourself of a situation, you can look at it and say, what happened wasn't okay, but I can still move on from this energy even though it was not okay. And that's where those kinds of lessons are learned. You see, this anxiety right here tied with this, like waiting on something. I don't know if you're waiting on an apology or waiting on that person to get their just desserts or this or this or that, but you're holding on to, you're stopping yourself from transitioning. You're stopping yourself from transitioning by waiting for there to be some kind of resolve. But what you can choose to do is take everything on yourself and say, you know what happened was not okay. Maybe I even had some actions that weren't okay, but I can relieve myself of the guilt of what my part in this. And I can relieve myself of the obligation of trying to fix this other person's mistakes. And I can relieve myself of, or release myself of the need to see this person suffer because of what they did. I can absolve myself from this situation and move up to a higher vibration, to a better place, to the best version of myself, and just move forward. So the thing that's stopping your transition and where you are actually tricking yourself is thinking that you're going to get some satisfaction when this all balances out. The truth of the matter is, when this all balances out, you'll never know if that person is suffering or not. And you know what? You don't have to. In order for you to move up and on, you legit don't have to. Aquarius, I hope you found a message that serves your highest good, and I'll see you next time.